right, good afternoon. Um, I was gonna do this earlier, but I was asleep until about maybe an hour ago or something. So now we can get to this and enjoy ourselves and whatnot. Let's start with the first one, which really isn't that big of a surprise, but I still think it's worth covering. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, surged to first place in New Hampshire, leapfrogging Joe Biden, according to a new poll of primary voters. Sanders has support of 29% of likely voters in the Granite State, according to a Boston Herald, NBC 10 Boston, and Franklin Pierce University poll released Monday, with just over 2 weeks to go before the primary. Sanders' support jumped 7 points in a survey released by the same pollster 2 weeks ago, leapfrogging former Vice President Joe Biden, who was leading in the poll from earlier this month. Biden is now trailing Sanders in second place at 22%, down 4 points since the earlier January poll. The New Hampshire poll also found Senator Elizabeth Warren in third place at 16%, former South Minneapolis Mayor Pete Buttigieg at 10%, followed by whatever this broad's name is from Minnesota at 5%. It's really weird. There was a poll with her in New Hampshire referring to Klobuchar at, I think, 10%, so she dropped again. That's why I said that with these polls, they look at one and they go, "Oh, I'm rising, I'm surging," and then a few weeks later. So the reason this isn't that surprising is because Sanders won New Hampshire last time. It's he's kind of like a favorite son because of Vermont's location or proximity to New Hampshire. But the point is that all these people are watching themselves get yanked from their high ground of supposedly polling decently or well. So it's been a really nice thing to watch and observe and to have take place. And they're like, I can't believe he's going up. We kept telling everyone that free school and Medicare for all, like, it's unaffordable and it's going to bankrupt the U.S. and bleh. And it just doesn't work, or at least it's not working according to these polls. But look, that was the one that we expected. That was the one that wasn't that surprising. Now let's get to the one that actually took me by surprise. Okay, Senator Bernie Sanders leads his closest competitor in the race for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination in Utah by 13 points, according to a poll released Monday. Sanders had the support of 27% of likely Democratic voters in the Suffolk University / the Salt Lake Tribune survey. Senator Elizabeth Warren trails Sanders with 14%, and former Vice President Joe Biden came in third at 12%. So he has a 13-point lead in Utah. I'm pretty sure Clinton won that last. Might have to go look. But wow, because I don't even think he's been to Utah, at least since the campaign started. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I just remember Iowa, the larger states like here, so we're from California, New York. That shocked me because usually when someone leads by those big, huge, gaping margins, they've had to have traveled to that state. And I said before that it was really sad to see a lot of people who were trying to say that their candidate was the new Trump or whatever, because Trump, as I mentioned before, starting from, I believe it was July of 2015, so only a month after he entered the Republican primary, was leading in most of the states and most of the polls. And no candidate has really been able to replicate that other than Biden. And that's not to say that no one has a chance. Don't even bother, none of that negative nonsense. But the comparison can't fully be made if there are components of it that are crucial. Because polling, unfortunately, people like to say that polls are inaccurate and whatever, but they do influence people's votes in a lot of instances. If you're looking at some primary and you've got two people at 18 and 16%, and then you've got some other person at 2, you're going to, if you especially if you hate one of the two options at the top, vote for one of the ones that seems to have the possibility of winning, which are the two at the top in that hypothetical I just gave. But it's really surprising seeing Utah in there. And every time I think of Utah, I just keep thinking of Romney. And like, I know that the Democrats over there have nothing to do with him except when they got smashed in the midterm really horribly. But the point is that I just couldn't like that state just feels so random to have him leading by that large, enormous. I don't even think he's doing that well in Vermont, like to where he's leading by over 10 points. So that's really crazy. Not crazy as in I can't comprehend it, but it shocks me. And I usually don't get too surprised by a lot of the developments with modern politics, because a lot of it is not predictable, but there's like patterns you can make out. But him not polling close, or rather polling so far ahead of people in a state that he hasn't even been to, as far as I know, it's really incredible. I seriously don't think he's ever been to Utah. That's really that's a sight to behold. Also, they're whining about this impeachment stuff, and I'm sure that's really interesting to some people. Honestly, when I looked on online today, I saw one little article where uh, McConnell told Roberts happy birthday, and they did a whole article about it. And then there was another one about Bolton and Murkowski saying she wants to hear him say something, or she'd be interested in hearing him talk. Um, and then Bolton came out with the New York Times and said, "Oh no, we didn't make a. This wasn't corroborated. The book leak. No, this had nothing to do with publicity." Like, yeah, we believe that. Some coincidences are just too good to actually be coincidences. So, like, right as you're supposedly the subject of this big Ukraine impeachment probe, you coincidentally get a leak for your novel. I mean, that's why I wish these people were honest. I don't know why they can't just come out and say, we want to sell a book. We know this is a hot topic right now. People are going to buy it if they think that it has something to do with this Ukraine stuff, or not Ukraine. Well, yeah, Ukraine. But it's really sad that we don't have people who are honest enough to admit, because I'd rather have Bolton write books than be in charge of government, of any government position again. So if he wants to go out and write a 30,000 word column on why we need to bomb some random country, I'd rather that than him actually being able to do it. Yeah, it's really sad that these people can't be honest. But then again, they're politicians, and 99% of them just lie. I remember Mike Gravel said most politicians are cowards. I just love, like, I wish I could just take that clip and just stick it on every time we talk about some new politician that is doing something stupid. It'll be perfect. You see, Senate majority. Oh my God, Siri, damn thing. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Monday tried to regain control over the Senate's impeachment debate by urging Republican senators at lunch to keep their powder dry on deciding the question of whether to subpoena additional witnesses and documents. McConnell reminded colleagues that they don't have to decide the question now, in the immediate aftermath of a report that former National Security Advisor John Bolton is claiming in an unpublished book manuscript that President Trump explicitly told him he wanted to freeze military aid to Ukraine to pressure the government there to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. So he's basically telling them, hey, you guys just don't worry about actually having the stuff that we need to decide if we're being impartial jurors. The information we'll get to this at some other point. That's what I love about a lot of these modern politicians. They don't say it, but they know people just don't care. Like it doesn't matter. They like, oh, you guys want to actually have a speedy trial and get to the bottom of this? Well, unfortunately, we're going to have a bunch of dithering and delaying so we can drag this thing out until the actual voting takes place. That's my favorite part. They just they're honest without being honest is the thing. They say it in ways that don't specify it, but this is exactly how they feel. Oh man, it's he, and I guess what kills me about him is that I keep thinking of how up until Collins got unpopular with this whole, you know, Kavanaugh crap, McConnell had this really low approval rating, and it's like, how does the senator with the worst home state approval rating just stay in power? Because I know that the colleagues vote for him to remain the majority leader year after year, or every session of Congress every 2 years, which we've only had two of those right now of him being in that position. But it's like, how the hell is he able to just stay there? And oh my God, he must be really popular with his friends. I believe that Bloomberg also wants Gantz to be the new prime minister of Israel. Speaking of which, wonder who the current president there is. Israel has both the prime minister and president. I know they do, just like Iran has the supreme leader and a president. Yeah, I'm probably gonna. Trump supporters and resistance are currently engaging in the most pathetic arguments on Twitter possible. The comebacks are so lame. Well, I told you they have nothing to do. That's why we actually sit here and talk about policy, and even with these polls, I'm still talking about them in a way that you won't see on the media's little goofy coverage. But that's what modern politics is: just people insulting each other and coming up with buzzwords that don't mean anything and hoping to get by off of that. That's why they call free college a handout, even though you still have to go to school to get the grade and study to get it. Literally, the only way that would be a handout is if after you're able to pay for it, they just give you the degree, and they don't do that. I told you that's why I hate like talking to conservatives, man. It's just such a waste of time because some of the stuff they say is just, oh my God, it's just like. And then what's worse is that a lot of times they actually they'll ruin the discussion by bringing up something that you disagree on them with on purpose. Like this one chick on Twitter, we were having a decent conversation, and she said, "Oh, you look at things impartially, and I like that, and but I totally disagree with you on healthcare." It's like, well, we just had a enjoyable discussion, and uh, what's McConnell's new mainstream name? His last one was Moscow Mitch. Uh, are we just gonna go back to calling him a turtle? Let me see here. I'm glad you showed up, Ruben. I was so depressed. Nobody appeared. I was like, oh my God. Everyone just is off doing something. That's how they roll. I mean, like I said, that's why I cut the streams in half to where it's only not even half the week anymore because I just people don't show up as often as I'd like, and I've been over that before, so I'm not going to retread it. But yeah, I don't think he has a new nickname. I think we're just stuck with the current one, and then possibly we'll get another one. Like during this campaign cycle, they'll call him, I don't know, Mounted Mitch for getting destroyed by the. Well, he won't actually lose, but if he did in some hypothetical to that goofy woman in Kentucky, it had something to do with the current impeachment disaster. Uh, I don't I don't know what they're calling him on that. Maybe Mute Mitch, because he won't let anybody speak, any of the witnesses. That's possibly what they call him. Yeah, this is getting really tiresome. They just I mean, I said that's why a big issue I have with politics is that you have things that just don't matter occurring, and then people want you to pay attention to it just to pay attention to it. Like, I don't cover the impeachment stuff at all because it just doesn't interest me, and we already know the outcome of it. And the people who are doing to know the outcome of it, but they'd rather believe a lie, which is that Republicans in mass are going to vote to get rid of Trump, then look at the facts and say, well, wait a second, these people want to keep their job. They want his voters to still support them. So they're going to pick their career over whatever evidence comes out. And I'm saying that as someone that doesn't even discount. I already said before, I think the whole thing is stupid. Just vote the prick out. And if you can't do that, then oh well. Veto Mitch. Oh, that's the title. That's the the name for him. Now we know who he is. Let's see. Maduro ally hires lobbyists to ease U.S. sanctions. What the hell is this? Bernie Sanders is part of. Man, the Hill has the dumbest editorials. I swear. When they have a new article in here called "Sanders is part of the swamp," and I'm not even. I'm just gonna read the first sentence, the first half of the first sentence, and just leave it alone. I don't care. Too many clowns on here. It was funny because I actually, when I was talking to that one broad, she was like, "You can't tolerate other people's opinions." I said, "No, I think those opinions can be around. I don't have to listen to them. That's the point." The pro-impeachment people unironically believe that Trump and several of his administration will get sent to prison after impeachment. Yeah, I saw one guy 2 years ago who said that they would impeach Trump's entire cabinet, and I was like, it's really sad when people build up delusions like that. It's already a delusion that he's actually going to get removed, but to actually say this whole cabinet is going to get removed as well. I mean, people are just weird, man. They let this stuff take over and get in the way. They use emotion instead of logic. Remember that video Cenk did? Uh, Trump will resign in disgrace soon from August of 2017. Still nothing. All right, there you go. Post this damn thing here. You should be able to see that article and the nonsense that that person is spewing. It's going to pop up and we're all going to laugh at it. I already read one weird article from the Hill this week. It was about socialism and oh my God, all the socialists are going to take over the U.S. and blah 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 blah. It was really boring, but I did try to make fun of it and lampoon it, so that'll come out at some point this week. Senk has made even more bizarre videos about Trump getting removed since. Yeah, but that one stands out as the defining "you don't know what you're talking about" moment for him because every couple of months I just go back and watch it. And I'm like, he really believed that these were like, I'll be very shocked if Trump's in there for 18 months. Well, it's been 36 now. It's been double that. I just think it's really pathetic that he just kept telling himself, yeah, 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 Trump's gonna be out of there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, no, no. Not at all. I told you that that's one of the biggest issues I have with TYT. That just it feels like as what's her name said, MSNBC After Hours, where a couple of years ago it was really nice to watch a left wing critique of a lot of the Obama stuff, and now it's just, I mean, I really feel like I'm watching one of those mainstream networks just with profanity and some Sanders support here and there. Just want some variety. That video is one of my favorites on that whole net. I might actually go back and download that just to like stick it somewhere because it's I mean, it's just they let emotions get the better of them when they put up stuff like that. Because I said before that even as a non-Trump supporting person, I can't logically look at the makeup of Congress and think they're going to remove him. Collins is not getting targeted by the Green Party as well as the Democrats and Trump fanboy. Yeah, they're doing all hell to her. Oh, Ruben, Would you want a documentary on her? I'm just asking a curiosity. They're attacking her nine ways to Sunday. That's why I said her and Murkowski are that's the end of moderate Republicans after this. At least in Congress anyway. They're getting crapped on by everybody. Told you they're more mad at her. The Democrats are more mad at her for considering not voting for Kavanaugh than any of the 40 plus Republicans that were going to vote for him no matter what. That sounds great. Well, I'll try to. I'm trying to finish this Giuliani one first, and then I'll look into that. So we got her, we got Schiff, we got Kerry, got Cohn. I think the only one of those I'm a little worried about there not being enough content for is Cohn, but I'll look into that later. It's just sad that you get a few people that actually think about stuff, in the sense that they're not so party oriented that they'll actually let stuff, evidence and information influence their views, and then you treat them like trash, and then you get surprised, and everybody just wants to be a rubber stamp for whatever side they're on. Like with McSally from Arizona, she is literally a Trump rubber stamp. That lady, when she was in the House, voted for Trump's bills. I think 90+% of the time, some ridiculously high number. Just they have no original thought of their own, but the couple that do crapped all over. The only one that these people don't mess with that actually shows a little bit of, I guess, a maverick nature is Rand. Everybody else, they run you out of there. Attacked by both sides. We need to have like a list of just politicians that are hated by both parties, and not the actual people, but like, well, I guess yeah, technically, because Collins' approval rating went down ridiculously low after the last year or whatever. But we need to have a list of just all the politicians that are disliked by their party, by the members of their party that are in office, and the members of the other party. I came across some left wing outrage with Murkowski last year because she insulted AOC. Yeah, but I mean, they're an opposing party, so what do they expect her to do? Kiss her butt? I told you, I really can't wait to see the 2022, or rather the Senate election in Alaska, and to see what the Democrats do. I'm just going to keep saying, I thought you guys loved this lady because she voted against evil Kavanaugh. What happened? Oh, you guys don't have spines. You don't actually stick with anyone. You don't stand for anything. Yeah, we knew that. They're just pricks, man. And I really hope that one day, uh, all of these politicians that they're doing this to get put in like a little book or something, just as a catalog of why not to try appealing to people that already don't like you. Because let's be honest, the real reason that they're so against them is because they have an R next to their name. It took Manchin voting for Kavanaugh after voting for all kind of Trump crap year after year to have these people go, I don't even. I had one guy on Twitter. I don't even care if he loses. The Green Party people are more in line with being against impeachment than most Democrats' talking points, but they're still chasing after Collins. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I don't. They're supposed to be different, but they're doing the same thing as the people that they claim to not be like. I told you, when you look at the opposition to her, it's literally like the Borg from Star Trek, where you got the Green Party that supposedly is different from the Democrats. The Democrats, they're supposedly different from the Republicans, and they're all attacking this lady for voting in some way they didn't like one time or another, to the point where they'll completely ignore all the time she voted for stuff that they like. Like Ruben, if I do actually do a documentary on her and I get to the Trump years and whatnot, you'll be surprised by the number of times she's been the one Republican to side with the Democrats on certain things, and they're so rude and they're just pricks, man. That's all. That's it. I'm just gonna say that they're a really sick group. Horrible people. So I like how my light went out. Or rather, the sun went down a little bit. Let me see if I can increase the brightness here. Let's see. Yeah, it's just so pathetic. They're the people whiny because Henry Wallace doesn't have an MLK following. I mean, hell, what politicians really do have that, the MLK following other than what maybe Washington and I don't know, Lincoln and then Kennedy, like besides those three and that maybe FDR. I guess technically Roosevelt is what the other Roosevelt as well, but so referring to TR, but you get the idea that most people don't, because most of us don't care about politics. We don't care about most people who've been important and influential in this realm either, which is horrible. But it's feel like people don't give a damn about anything. And then a few times they do, it's always in the worst direction. Off topic, but two teen other girls died in a helicopter with Kobe and his daughter. Yeah, it was some friend of hers, and then also a coach, and I think the friend's mother as well. Yeah, and you know what's sad, Ruben, is that a lot of the people that idolize those men still can't tell you anything about them, and it's. I keep trying to explain to people name recognition by itself means nothing if you don't know anything about that person. There's actually a video that someone made, I think 11 years ago, 2009, and they were talking about the how Wonder Woman wasn't really iconic, and they mentioned how if you ask a random person about Batman or Superman, they can tell you their origin, they can tell you a couple of their villains. With her, they don't like all they know is who she is. They don't know anything about her. Yeah, Ruben Nixon gets brought up whenever they want to, talk about some president being evil. Ruben, you don't know how horrible that is. The only president born in my state I watch get just trashed all the time. And it's crazy too because I actually, when I first got into politics, I had about three or four different adults from the era of his tenure that gave him high marks. They said other than impeachment, he was fine. Like like this, what gets me. They hate Johnson, right, for Vietnam, but then the president that ends U.S. involvement in Vietnam. And again, we can get into like the ways he kept it, but the point is he ends it, and then they still have like that's what I said. You can't win with these people. I swear, they you know one of the good things about I guess being very comfortable in my positions is that it's always the other way around, meaning that if I put up content about some politician, there will be people who come on it and try to argue with me, and I don't even respond because I don't care that they don't like that person. It doesn't bother me, you know. But that's why I was saying that a lot of times it with the opinion stuff, it's me being just like with the prequel thing, right, Ruben? You say you don't like the prequels. It doesn't bother me. It's just a movie. But if I, let's say, were to do a video on why I think they're underrated, not even calling them masterpieces or great or anything, you would have people who go on there and go, I don't agree with this because and I'm like, all right, well, fine, whatever. That's why I said there's this like thing online where people will claim they don't care, but they still like. There's a lot of anti-Sanders material on these on YouTube. I don't go and look at it. I don't try to argue against it. I let it sit there and just ignore it because it doesn't help me to really pay attention to these people because they're not saying anything really worth it. Wasn't for no, that was Spiro Agnew. who was the what governor is he the state of again? I forgot. I just know that he died 2 years after Nixon and resigned a year before, or a couple of months before Nixon. It's funny. Nixon actually, when I think of presidents with two VPs, if I'm not thinking about Lincoln, I'm thinking about Nixon because it's the same scenario where they have one person for most of the time they're in office, then another person takes over, and then not even a year later they're out for either assassination or resignation. You get the point. But in that way, it's similar, or it's like a little parallel. He was governor of Maryland. That's right. Maryland's a state that had three black lieutenant governors back to back, but still no black governor. Yeah, Maryland's a really they're an interesting state. I'll say that, at least with respect to their politicians. I think the prequels could have been good if more competent people were in charge of making the movies. Disney sequels were stillborn. I mean, like I said, I like them a lot more than the sequels, or I like them and not the sequels because they don't actually remove the ending from the originals, like the outcome. So, if you're when we lived in a world where it was just those six films, it ends with the emperor being dead and the republic, or rather the resistance winning. Well, yeah, but the sequel trilogy got screwed up by having two different directors. And then Music Fiend is in here saying "Rest in peace, Justin," and he's saying he's going to buy my casket and bury me at sea. And I was over here blushing. I was so flattered he would do that for me. He said these are my last days because he had a vision. So I'm so flattered. No, but Ruben, if I do the whenever I get to the Obama one, I'm gonna make it to where, because I want to have the most comprehensive. Like, this video could literally end up being 5 hours long or 4 hours long, one of those lengths, because I want to have all the information written down. I want to show clips. I want to have I don't know if you remember that video I had of Jimmy where he was like, "You want to know why the Democrats lost? Because they're clowns who don't stand for anything." I want to have that in there because whenever mainstream media covers his tenure or just him as a person, they're going to skim over the earlier parts of his career, and they're going to leave certain really horrible things from his tenure out of there as well. So they can keep talking about he had elegance and grace and was so sophisticated, and oh, what a wonderful man. God, people have really tricked themselves about him. One of the daughters had both of her parents with her on that chopper. Yeah, I read that too. Oh yeah, I would mention the manual, and then him tearing up Chicago, and he would be in there, and Jared. I don't know about Newland. Let me see. I feel like I've heard that name before, but I'm not familiar with her because I know that Jared was basically running some stuff behind the scenes. And who could forget her involvement with getting Roseanne's character killed because that dumb comment, that joke she made about her. Oh, it's Nullin. That's why I didn't recognize it. Okay, she was the Assistant Secretary of State for European and Austrian Affairs. Abomination. If Bernie wins Iowa, we're set. Well, Music Fiend, when I spoke earlier, I was talking about how he was polling, what was it, 13 points ahead of anybody in Utah. And I was like, wow, he hasn't even been over there. in the Obama documentary mention the oh, of course, that yeah. No, look, it'll be a fair piece. I'm gonna because I make the point of saying that when I give my critiques during them, I still give credit where it's due. So I'll still say, hey, I love the Iran deal. Trump ripping it up has made us have dangerous relations ever since. But that's my point, that this isn't about just attacking someone. We're gonna have the information on the screen, we're gonna have the clips, all that stuff. That thing is going to be massive, man. I'm already getting a headache just thinking, but we're probably going to have like some, because for the Giuliani one, it was 6 pages of a script. So we're probably going to have maybe a 20 or 30-page script. It's going to be really huge. Yeah, if I got my way, and I'm sure this information is yeah, the it's we mentioned this before. The Iowa caucus actually isn't for the Democrats. It's a big sign of who's going to win, but for the Republicans, it's usually a bad sign. Remember, Cruz won it and lost. Ron won it and lost. I think Romney won it in 2008, and you know what? Got smashed by Republicans are stupid. Well, Music Fiend, we looked at your voter registration, and you had a hard R next to it. They should have kept with Ron Paul. Yeah, I said before, if he had been the nominee either in 2008 or 2012, the Republicans would have had a much better chance of actually winning, because he could pull from both sides. Because see, the thing is that Trump's rise was due to high name recognition, along with a lot of dissatisfied voters who didn't like Hillary. Um, but with Ron, you could have him get enough support from independents and Republicans to drown out that coalition of Obama people. Because already 4 years later, a lot of them stayed at home. He didn't get as many votes the second time around. But the Republican voters shows not to. How much power to the never Trump Republicans have over the Democrats? They seem to be like best friends or something. It's really weird. It's kind of really sad that you actually have two sides. They're supposed to be different from each other, and they all keep whining about tweets and you know the he's speaking below the dignity of the office and all these little terms and words that again don't actually have anything to do with policy. How much do never Trump Republicans have? How much have over the Democratic Party? I mean, they might as well just join it by now. That's why that one Democrat that voted to acquit Trump, he changed parties because he was always just a center right kind of guy in the DNC. The only difference is he didn't, uh, I guess, discriminate against LGBT people, and that's about it. And they already have Republicans who don't do that. It's the log cabin ones. Whew. Let's see what else is here. Yeah, Music Fiend is a really mean person. Over there disappearing and calling people names and cursing in the comments section, like somebody made him mad and he's gonna take it out on us. Music Fiend. What if Ruben doesn't like profanity? I don't think I've seen Ruben use bad words. That might be true. The never Trump Republicans don't even want to support Lion Warren. That's gonna be everybody. Lion Ted, Lion Hillary, Lion Liz. No, we gotta say I just realized we can't say Lion Liz because they might think we're talking about Liz Cheney. And we can't say Lion Cheney because then they might think we're talking about her dad. Damn. Everybody's gonna have Lion in their name. Lion Obama. Oh, I actually had one person who was like, "Oh, you said Obama? Are you talking about the president?" I said, "If I said Nixon, you know I'm talking about the president. There are certain last names that are synonymous with particular people. I mean, you know, if I say Reagan, you know who I'm talking about. It's not hard to figure it out." I didn't even really, snap at him or get mad. It was just like, "Are you serious? These last names that are synonymous with these presidents, you don't know what I'm talking about? That's really confusing to you?" Yeah, but like I said, the voters, the people in these parties, they really do make me just want to like run everywhere. I wish we'd get rid of them, man. They're bad, and they offer nothing. Like with Cruz, for example, his whole thing is, if I just blindly and quietly support Trump for 4 years or longer, if he gets a second term, I can become the Republican nominee in 2024, and I'll be the best bootlicker. I'll be able to oust to take down Pence and whoever else runs as the most Trump-like person. And they like, because of this, he won't stand for anything. And I swear, if you go back and you watch any of Cruz's remarks during the Obama years, his whole thing was, "I'm challenging everybody. I'm not like the other members of my party," and it was all the horse crap. Eminem used to mention in his music during his early years. You leave Bush Senior alone. You leave. W. I swear, watching people try to pretend like that man was good now that they don't like Trump, it really does piss me off so much. Because even as someone that was only a little kid at the time, I still vividly recall his tenure. How much? What is this? Who's Mount Sir? Oh, some new character. But yeah, they've been sitting here and trying to pretend like this was some great man, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I saw him have a 60% approval rating, referring to Bush. I wanted to vomit. I mean, like, how do these grown people just completely forget something that happened 10 years ago? Cruz won't stand a chance against the Trump spawn, especially if Nikki Haley helps them. Yeah, she's the one that they're really trying to prop up. And remember, I did the story on who the top four 2024 Republican candidates were. It was Ivanka, it was Trump Jr., uh, Rubio, and then Haley. So Cruz isn't even in the in the top four. These moderate journalists are, "Hey, music fiend, watch your language. I don't want you to offend Mount Sir," and then they get mad and they'll put something else in here. It's like, "I didn't come here to read cuss words. I wanted a discussion about Bernie." No, I think Cruz has pretty much lost his chance. It'll be really funny because he's one of those people that doesn't want to accept the fact that, like, he doesn't appeal to voters in particular ways. So he'll probably run again next time and then again after that because he'll just keep believing. If I just keep trying, I'll get this. That's how they roll. And I told you the voters are really, with the Republicans, really disturb me with that monarchy thing because their whole thing is, oh, make sure that you take care of yourself and raise yourself up, and that's why we don't like the Democrats because they offer the handouts. But then the biggest handout is literally being someone's sperm cell and leading in the Republican primary just for that. So it's all hypocrisy. But they don't care. They repeat the lies anyway. Will lose his Senate seat to a CIA Democrat. Um, I don't know, man. It's the Texas voters are just like, I think what will happen is that one of the Democrats will run and they'll try to, pretend to be progressive, and you'll have more people who are, minority or young or whatever, that'll vote this time around, the second time, so 2024 with his Senate seat, and then that's when they'll take him out. Because again, I know we're all sick of O'Rourke after this election, but the thing of going to each county and I support this because reasons X, Y, and Z. It did work to an extent. So yeah, Cruz really has no. I think his future is pretty much set in stone. He's going to have 2 terms in the Senate. He's going to keep running for president and losing, and then he'll lose a Senate seat, and that'll be the end of his era. He'll go around giving speeches. He'll be like maybe the most you'll see from him after that is maybe some appearances on C-SPAN, and then probably a cabinet post, and not even like attorney general like with Barr. If he had just been Bush's attorney general, nobody would even care about him. But because he got an Act Two as attorney general, he's been getting more attention and coverage, and that initial tenure has been more scrutinized. So he'll get some crappy position or some lower tier position, and then we'll hear the end of him politically. Anyway, we're not talking about anybody's health. All right, well, I'm pretty talked out here. I thank those who attended, especially Ruben and Music Fiend. Uh, Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this. I'll put some stuff up this week, and we'll do another stream on Saturday. So, thank you for watching. Have a good day.